Hi everyone, James G0SEC here in the shack, and I thought I'd do a quick update on the shack video. Haven't done one for a while, so I thought those of you that are subscribed to my videos will hopefully see this and give you some ideas, etc. I'm going to show you today what some of the recent equipment that I've brought in the shack. So let's get started. For those of you that haven't seen my shack before, I thought I'd do just a quick explanation of what I've got in the shack. And so here goes. I'm going to start from left to right, really, sort of play it by ear. But using for my rotator, I'm using a G1000 DXC. I find this to be really helpful, good for speed control and presets and etc. And it's also connected to the computer. So a really good thing to do is if you're using a logging program like I do, then you can obviously have it so it's set on auto, so it goes to the right beam heading when you enter the call sign in. I use a 950, but soon this is going to be sold, and I'm going to buy the Kenwood 990. So I'm going to have the 990 next door to the 7800. My main radio is the 7800. I think it always will be. I absolutely love using this radio. It's a sure delight to use. It's got probably the best filtering I've ever seen in any radio so far. And I'm looking forward to doing some comparisons between the 990, the Kenwood 990, the new radio, and the 7800. So I'm really looking forward to that, to do that in a few months' time. I use a mixer, which I'll explain about in a minute. I use a couple of audio racks. The microphone is an RE27 made by Electro Voice, and a very famous microphone for broadcasting, and for good reason. I've had quite a few of these microphones. I had an RE20 recently, and I've actually just ordered an RE320, so I want to find out what the RE320 is like. Same sort of microphone, very similar, but it's actually a black microphone, and but different, slightly different voice characteristics. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of sound I can get out of that one. I'm using an amplifier, which is the ACOM 1010. I recently brought this amplifier, a fantastic amp. I'll just show you very quickly on how good it is to tune with this amplifier. Let me just put it on operate mode, and very simple to do, very quick, and there's no fan noise with this amplifier. Very quiet fan. In fact, I've got to listen for it very carefully, otherwise I can't hear it at all. So let me just tune. Very easy, just to get these 3 LEDs in the middle, and then you just peak it up, and there we have it, tuned. Very quick. Okay, so that's the amplifier. The new bit of equipment I've got in the shack also is the new antenna switching system, which I really do like. This is made by W2IHY. It's proven to be absolutely fantastic. As you see, I've got 3 radios. I've got the ICOM 7800, I've got the TS 950 at the moment, soon to be a 990, and I've got the Flex Radio 5000. And what I can do is I can switch across the different antennas depending on what radio I'm on. So if I'm on the ICOM 7800, I can just switch across the 3 antennas there, or on the auxiliary I can switch across this 6 meter beam. And you'll see up here, let me just show you the other side of the shack here. You'll see above my component cabinet, I've got an antenna switch here on the wall. The 4 antennas go into the back garden and up to the tower, to the different HF antennas. And I really like this switching system. And let me just show you what it's like. You'll see that the LED will move across to the corresponding antenna that's being used. And it's a very good system. Basically, the 3 radios plug into the controller box, and there's one output, and on the one output it basically goes to the amplifier, and from the amplifier it goes to the antenna tuner, which is the MFJ 998 antenna tuner. Now, I don't usually like MFJ equipment, but I must say on this occasion I had a friend that had one of these, and so I had a go on his, and I was quite impressed with it, so I brought myself one. And it is very good indeed, and I don't think it's ever not tuned anything. It tunes basically a wet piece of string, and you can check up to about 1.5 kilowatt into this amplifier, and it won't even break a sweat. So It's a bit like the other 993 MFJ IntelliTuners, but it's a bit like it's on steroids. It's very, very quick, and it will tune literally within about a second, if not less than a second. And in this one, I've done a slight modification where I've put a little circuit inside, and so it enables me to read peak reading. I'll just show you very quickly. Let me just give it a bit of a peek. Let me just show you very quickly. You'll see that it goes down nice and slowly. So I actually put a circuit in. I've got a switch at the back, and I can turn it off and on, and so it sort of enhances it a little bit. I like to have a peak reading in the meter. What I do like about this one is it will display the frequency, the reflected power, and you can also change the different modes. I don't know if you can see this. You can change the modes here. I'm just switching across. You can see what each of the values are. You can also do it manually by giving it a bit of capacitance and inductance and up and down and stuff. So I really do like this tuner, and hate to say it, it is an MFJ, but it's probably the only piece of MFJ equipment that I actually do like. And I use the RE27 Electro Voice microphone, which is on the Heil Boom. I use that for all radios in the shack, and I do that by going through the audio racks first. I got a Behringer Mic 2200. I mainly use this for a preamp. I haven't got any EQs in on the Mic 2200, and I purely use it for TX only. And that goes to the DEC 2496. I don't know if you can see my DEC settings. I don't think my camera really likes it, but you can see it picking up on the microphone. I'm using the mic from the audio you can hear at the moment is from the camera, but also my mic is obviously picking up my voice, and you can see the noise gate working that I've got set in on the microphone. So that's the DIN setting. I'll just show you quickly my EQ settings for it, and my PEC settings, and set up purely for my own voice, of course. From the DEC it goes to the mixer. Now I really like this piece of equipment, and it's absolutely essential. It's actually built into the desk. I cut a hole in my desk, slotted it into the desk. It was usually about sort of this height, so I slotted it into the desk. Sits in there quite nicely and snug, and there's a couple of vent holes underneath the desk that keep it nice and cool. The thing I like about the mixer is on the different channels you can select the different outputs, and I use you'll see here I've got a sound card which I use for record and playback when I'm on air, for anyone that wants their audio played back to them. Then I can record them via the PC software that I use. I actually use a piece of software called Audacity. I record them, play it back with the help of the mixer, and then just select the main output. Because what I do is I use the sub for RX audio, and I use the main output for my TX audio. So on the microphone slider here, which is always pretty much in the same position, I have this selected here on the main, and on the radios you'll see I have them selected on the sub, which is this one here. And the great thing about this also is you can actually select solo, so that it will get rid of all the other channels apart from that one channel. So when I'm playing, what I usually do when I do a playback, I just hit the solo button and the main button. Oop, I was on the wrong one there. I got a bit of feedback, but I usually just press the solo button and press the main button to send it back through the audio chain, so it goes out through the radio. But that's a bit about my equipment. So it goes from the microphone to the Mic 2200 to the DEC to the mixer, and then from the mixer it goes to this piece of equipment here called an I+. And what the I+ would do is basically match the line levels from your audio racks down to mic levels for ham radio, amateur radio equipment. And obviously each radio is different, so the settings are slightly different on the pots. So you know, this is the 7800, this is the 950, and this is the Flex radio. The Flex radio is down below here. It's a Flex 5000, and it's tucked away in a cupboard nicely and sort of out the way. I don't usually have it hanging about in the shack, and it's really nice for when you want a bit of a play on the computer monitors, and you know, I quite like the Flex, but the main radio I use on a daily basis is, or nearly daily basis, I'm not on the radio every day, but is a 7800. Second to that is the my 950. My 950 really has been used as a receiver more than anything these days. But in saying that, it's all set up to obviously transmit on the 950, but soon that will be obviously the 990. And the really nice thing, just getting back about the switch, is that you can also put it on remote, and you'll see that I've got it here on remote. And then what you can do then is you can go back to the i+ and just switch it across, and you'll see when I switch it across, you'll see that it changes on the antenna switching system to what radio I want, and it does that through relays which go to this antenna box here. This is the switch. I think I've shown you this before. For those of you that haven't seen it, then this is the switch on the wall, and basically when I change the antenna switch, there it is there, you'll see that it switches over, and the 4 cables go out of the wall into the back garden where the tower is, and eventually goes up the tower to the antennas. So quite a neat setup. The switch itself, the controller box, like I said before, has 3 inputs, so the 3 radios go into the controller box, and the one output goes to the amp, and then it goes to the auto tuner, and then up to the switch on the wall. So you know, if you want to find out more information about this really good antenna switch, probably the best one I've ever had. It's superb quality, and it'll run up to about 2. You can run about 2 kilowatt into this at ease. It won't even break a sweat. So have a look at it on the W2IHY website. It's a new product by Julius, and I must say Julius has done an amazing job of getting it to me so quickly. It only took about 4 or 5 days to get here from the States, and got the you know, the usual top service from Julius. You know, phone calls and checking that everything's okay and everything. So you know, thanks a lot, Julius. Really appreciate it if you ever get to watch this video. But this is just a quick insight. Some of the equipment I've got in my own ham shack here. Let me just show you very quickly the computer. Now I use the computer, and I use 3 monitors. One is connected to the radio. I can switch these all across, but I use 3 monitors, and you'll notice, for those of you that have probably noticed this already, there is no monitor stands in the shack which make way for equipment underneath. And the reason for that is, I'll just show you very quickly. Up here I brought a new bracket, and it's really seriously heavy duty, and that holds the 3 monitors together. And I've done away with the monitor stands, so it allowed me to put the equipment underneath the monitors. It's just nice. It's just not the right height as well in front of me on in the shack here. I'll just show you very quickly my logging program. Some of you have commented on my logging program before. I use a program called NGenLog, and just show you very quickly. Let me just put in one of the hams that I speak to. Let me just put in N4LA. There's Todd in the States, and you'll see it comes up with his beam heading. The rotator just moved slightly, so it must have corrected the beam heading it was on, and does that automatically. I like this program. You've got the you know, the log here, you've got the cluster down here, you've got the spots from the cluster here. This is the frequency of what frequency I'm on the radio. Just show you very quickly. That's the hang on, I'm on FM here. Let's do it right. Let's get on that USB, and it's very quick. It works really well with both radios. Doesn't matter if I'm on the 950 or the 7800. It works with both radios. And what I really do like about the logging program and having 3 monitors in the shack, just show you very quickly, is the fact that you can just click the QRZ button here when you put in the call sign, and on this monitor here you'll see that it fires up into QRZ, so you can do a bit of nosing on the person that you're speaking to. And it's really quite handy having the 2 monitors in the shack, sorry, the 3 monitors in the shack, to give you all that kind of information. So if you're not thought about doing you know, having 2 monitors or 3 monitors in the shack, then it's definitely worth doing. If you're like me and you like to view QRZ pages and do all kinds of different things while you're on the radio. But just thought I'll do this video. Haven't done one for a while, and I got a little bit more equipment coming very shortly that I'm going to also do a few more videos on. And I've had quite a lot of questions about the audio and how you set it up. And I think I'll just touch once more just before I go. The microphone made by Electro Voice, it's pretty much the RE20 from Electro Voice was the industry standard in broadcast microphones. And I've had the RE20. This is the RE27. I'm looking forward to any day now getting the RE320 just to see what it's like. And same microphone, but it's in black, and a few different voice characteristics of the actual microphone. But I know people that are using this microphone. My friend Todd in the States, he's using this microphone. Let me just show you his G0SEC page here. So I thought I'd definitely got to check it out because his audio sounded really good last time I spoke to him. So, but the microphone goes to the mic 2200, and once again it goes to the deck. And in the deck I set up the DIN for the noise gate. I have it on downward expanding, and pretty much have it so that there's no noise obviously on between the peaks. And it's not a very noisy shack. My shack's a very there's not a lot of noise in it. I've got all the equipment running here, power supplies and so forth. I think the only thing that's reasonably, if you could call it noisy, would probably be the power supply, but you have to really listen for it to get it. This microphone on the camera being not so good quality, you're probably hearing it, but it's not a very noisy shack, to be honest. And there's no sort of fan noises in here, but I'd still use a downward expander. And I use the GEC, and I use the GEC EQ in the DEC 2496, and I don't need anything more than that really to get a really nice sound between that and the 7800's onboard EQ. And goes through the mixer. I don't use any of the EQ settings on the mixer. I just purely rely on the rack. And the mixer really for me is just basically channeling the audio from the radios. I also use the same microphone for my Skype and for Echo Link and things like that, anything to do with the computer. And I can set the right different levels through the channels for the computer, which is slightly different to the other equipment like the ham radio equipment. I use the left channel on the deck for TX audio, and I use the right channel on the deck for my RX audio. And once again, I use the RX audio on the sub, and I use the main TX audio on the main. And the reason I like this mixer, I'll say it again, it's a 1622 FX USB mixer. And the reason I like it is because it's one of the only few mixers that you can get where you can actually select the output of the different channels. And by doing that, you totally isolate the two, RX and TX, so you don't get no feedback or pickup. It can get a bit nasty on feedback if you've only got one slider, like one main output. So, and that's the way that I do it, and it seems to work really nicely with no problems at all. And like I said, I use the I+ to match those line levels down to mic level. Okay, I hope this helps, and I hope you enjoy my video, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye bye. 7 3s from G0SEC.